Divine and royal greetings, family. Welcome to another edition of Build Through Broadcast with the Emerald Green Collective. Now, this edition, this episode, this discussion is super duper special. Normally, we are blessed with Coach Shanta and Coach Latoya, but we have Coach Amber and we have Coach King Dom in the house. And I'm especially excited about this one because, King Dom has really thugged it with us women for this last almost a year now. He's the only divine masculine active within the space. And we are just super duper happy to have him on the platform along with everyone else. So, normally we will bring you, a topic of the day. And we've decided that today is going to be us. We are the topic. You get to learn a little bit more about the Emerald Green Collective, the certified Emerald Green holistic practitioners, AKA Heal Thyself practitioners. We are alumni of the Heal Thyself School within the Queen Afua Institute, and we come bearing gifts. We have gone through an amazing training, and now we are showcasing our individual works within the collective. So we do want to start off with King Dom. He ascended through Man Heal Thyself rites of passage in the spring of 2021. Wellness warrior King Dom is a certified holistic practitioner who enjoys and facilitates new moon rising meditations. Wellness warrior Dom has launched the Healing Champion, which is an initiative to share his unique healing style designed for cross-generational audiences. King Dom currently practices a flexitarian lifestyle and assists his students and clients alike who aspire to do the same. King Dom is a life student and continues to grow into a better version of himself through wellness practices. So let's give a shout out to King Dom.
Give thanks. Give
Thank
thanks,
you.
Lola.
Thank you.
That was an amazing introduction. I couldn't have
Well, I do what I
can. Yes. So I have ascended
yes.
through the Man's Heal Thyself rites of passage, spring, summer 2021, and became a holistic health practitioner, at the end of 2021, going into the new year. And it was an amazing experience because it inspired me to really continue this wellness, right? Just even though I am a flexitarian, I consider myself a flexitarian, I've experienced the plant-based diet and the plant-based lifestyle. And I must say, it made me feel a little lighter. It was days where before I started the plant-based practices during the 21-day wellness detox courses, I wasn't waking up in the best mood. I was really irritated, groggy. And I usually look at the time and notice that I had to go to work, but I was like, I got a couple more minutes. But the reason why I implemented the new moon rising meditation, because it allows us to get a new start, to reset, because sometimes we fall short. But I ultimately want us to strive to be a better version of ourselves every day, that we have more ups than downs, right? Yeah. So I decided to wake up early rising. We wake up 5 a.m. in the rising, just to maximize the time in your day. You have a chance to take a wellness bath, you have a chance to journal, figure out your thoughts for the day. Yoga movements, getting that body moving. Also, if you want to grab some breakfast in the rising, sometimes we I'm from the city that doesn't sleep. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. And I feel like I've grown into this world where I'm constantly on autopilot.
So let me
So
ask you, with the
yeah,
autopilot, what made you decide to take on or begin a wellness journey? What was that deciding factor for you?
the toxicity within myself.
Mm,
You know,
mhm,
a lot of people like to point the fingers, but I'm gonna take accountability on that end. Um, not eating the best,
mhm,
not being punctual and on time for things. I always
mhm,
like to say I'm there when I need to be or where I'm supposed to be, but ultimately, like, just wanting a healthier lifestyle. I wanted to think more clearly.
mhm,
I wanted to be more proactive than reactive because
mm,
a lot of the time I was waiting for something to happen to react rather than preventing it to happen. And that's what proactive is being all about. And I realized that when I started, taking accountability, showing up for myself, pouring into myself, I was able to pour from a filled cup rather than an empty cup. And everyone around me started to, you know, I would say ascend or grow or, you know, pretty much like, just there everyone is just in this whole, wellness around me. Like every day, everybody's positive, everybody's in a good mood. And you
mhm.
set the tone for that.
I did.
No, well,
Oh, I
you
was gonna say I did
meaning
that.
me. I'm sorry.
Sometimes I
You
feel like, like
look, I'm talking to part of my reflection here. So
oh,
when
I
I
got you.
say you, I meant me. I'm talking.
He's
So give
speaking in
thanks
third
for that.
person, but in first. Got it.
Yeah, give thanks. Appreciate
Give
it.
thanks. Yes, yes, yes. So tell us, what do you feel, over these last almost 12 months? What has been the greatest lesson, albeit professionally or personally, as you have begun to remove layers of toxicity?
When I started removing layers of toxicity, discarding the parts of me that didn't serve, I was able to build community
Mm,
because I had this ego as a man. We have this, well, I can only speak for myself, but this ego, this chip on my shoulder where I'm afraid to ask for help, right? But going through a community of wellness, I was allowed to, be okay with accepting help and being able to ask for help, and putting my ego aside. Being in a divine feminine space is very nurturing. So I developed that nurturing side of me where, I'm able to put my guard down and not always be uptight and not be so hyper masculine because we all know that we all carry feminine energy and masculine energy. But when you put that together, you have a balance. So I
mhm.
think definitely just when I removed my layers, I was able to build community and find a balance.
Okay, that's awesome. So now that you have dived, dove, dived, dove.
Whichever one sounds good.
I'm trying to get it, trying to get it. What
I'm
what do you look forward to the most, over the next 12 months? What what
mm.
what does the future King Dom look like?
Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Wait and see. I'm just living,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So I'm gonna
every
ask one of your sisters. Do any one of you have a wild card question for your brother here?
I have my question. All
Mm-hmm.
right, King Dom. Now, these new moon meditations are absolutely amazing. I tell you, I feel horrible every time I miss one. I'm like, oh, you didn't set your alarm. You gotta commit. But when I go to the new moon meditation, it is absolutely amazing. So my wild card question for you, King Dom. How many instruments have you purchased specifically for your new moon meditation?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I currently have, I would say 4 instruments. I have a tongue drum, I have a singing bowl,
Mhm,
I have a shikare.
mhm.
Um, you know, I think I have a 4th one. I'm not sure. But maybe I'll probably use my hands. I start clapping when I can't find no instruments around. I do look, I am looking into investing in a rain stick, you know,
Mm,
a gong, or
mhm,
just other things to implement like different sounds, because I definitely want to do a lot of sound healing before we get started into doing the yoga movements and journaling and things of that nature. But yeah, currently I would say officially I mentioned 3, but I believe I have 4 instruments that
mm.
that's currently in my possession. Yeah, but you can sing, you can listen to your favorite music, because meditation means anything to anyone, right? Who's meditating, because a lot of people meditate in different ways. And I try to incorporate all in one, where you're sitting in silence and just focusing on the spiritual essence of the breath, the breathing. Sometimes we just need to calm our mind and gather our thoughts.
Mm.
Some individuals think of meditation as journaling. Some individuals think of meditation by, singing and dancing, or even doing yoga movements. But yes, I implement the instruments. Back to the instruments, I implemented the instruments, and I currently have about 3 or 4 right now, and looking to expand. So I'm not trying to limit myself. Oh, I want a dungery. What do you call that? Dungery-do?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a very ancient. I want a flute.
Mhm.
So it's just a lot. Yeah, I can talk all day, because I get super excited when we talk about rising meditation, because I know how much it has impacted me and also the people around me.
Wow. And by the time this airs, we would have had at least one rise in meditation with you. So, shout out to you in advance for a beautiful time that we are going to have. We really appreciate you, Don. We appreciate, the balance that you bring to the space. We look forward to all of the greatness that you will uncover, rediscover on this journey of practicing, whether it's practicing for your personal development or in practice for your professional development, helping the people in Brooklyn and abroad. We say thank you and we appreciate you so very much. But we'll circle back around, because now we would like to introduce another sister who is really just doing her thing. We live vicariously through her. I would say probably daily, probably daily. And I'm speaking of Coach, certified Emerald Green holistic practitioner, Amber Wood. She is a Reiki master. She is a master in meditation and breath work, and she's an herbalist. She's the founder of Scales and Alchemy and cultivator of safe spaces of healing for women. Her services include coaching, Reiki, energy readings, special retreats in Costa Rica, where she currently resides with her husband and her 3 dogs. So we would like to say, welcome to Built Through Broadcast, Amber. Woo, 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 woo. So Am, thank you so, and first of all, she's on a different time zone. So shout out to you for making yourself available for this special edition. We were trying to get everybody on the same call, family, but it's working people here. They're knee deep in the work. So, we get in where we can fit in. So Am, I will start off by asking you, what ignited your healing journey to
Well,
not
first,
only heal yourself, but then make that decision to help heal others?
Yes, thank you. Give thanks for the amazing introduction. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that I was able to make it. What ignited my healing journey? I would say between the years of 2016 and 2020, it was a series of losses that really began to ignite my healing journey. And I won't belabor and get into too much of it because just for the sake of time, but it started with the loss of my father to cancer in 2016. That was a month after my now husband had proposed to me. So it was very, very challenging emotionally. Um, and 2016 was an interesting pivotal year because it had some amazing highs. Again, mentioning I was getting married, and we did get married New Year's Eve of 2016, but also the major lows, with my father not being there physically, though he was definitely there in spirit. But from there, my husband and I experienced a miscarriage of our first child. My health began to fail. I was ultimately diagnosed with sciatica and neuropathy out of nowhere, numbness in my feet, my legs, trying to figure out exactly what was going on. Um, just loss after loss after loss. And I knew that I had to get back to self. I recognized that I was out of alignment, out of alignment with source, out of alignment with self, trying to remain in alignment within my community and connected to those around me. But there's a certain isolation that comes as well from dealing with the challenges that we were experiencing, and not only within, I guess my husband and I were dealing with a lot. So there was isolation, I think, with he and I to the rest of our, maybe friends and family to a certain extent. We still had their support, but we were navigating new territory and trying to get back to where we were, or at least to just feeling better with everything. But then there was also personal isolation because at the time, there was no one else around me who was experiencing these specific challenges. And so it was definitely a shedding that had to occur. I knew that there were so many things that could not go forward with me. I had to release and shed a lot of things that I could not carry, forward into this next stage of my life. But um, I started to delve more into herbalism. My father had introduced me to a lot of it growing up, and I was already very familiar with juicing and utilizing herbs. But I didn't go as hard as I did until I began to experience the health challenges and wanting to understand what's happening reproductive, with my reproductive system, because my husband and I ended up having a total of 4 pregnancy losses from 2016 to 2020. But after being tested, the doctor saying, "Oh, it's unexplained. Everything looks great for you and him." Well, it's unexplained until it is. And
Mm.
that's how I felt. I knew it. And, I just started to explore because, we've been programmed to go to the doctor. Something's wrong, we go to the doctor.
Mm.
And that's where I was. That was the space that I was in. And got tested for everything. And don't get me wrong, conventional medicine has its place. And I'm very grateful for every specialist that I saw who was able to at least check the boxes and say, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good.
Yeah.
We don't know. Now, that's very difficult though, because I wanted a diagnosis. I didn't care what it was. Just tell me what it is that's going on. And one of my dear cousins, who I love so much, her name is Ashley, and she invited me to Queen Afua's. It was the women's womb wellness that occurred in the summer of 2020.
Mm.
And she said, "Hey, I was thinking about joining this. Would you like to?" And I said, "Let's do it." And it changed everything because I knew after that weekend, I had to get connected. And again, that was the summer of 2020. So it was, I think, July timeframe, July, August. And I enrolled in Sacred Woman Rites of Passage just after that. So that was, I think, September, October of 2020 when we got started. And at the same time, my husband joined the Man Heal Thyself journey, the parallel journey. And so we had that amazing opportunity to just go through it, our individual journeys, but alongside one another and support each other through that process. And it was amazing. We experienced all the things and we ascended together in January of 2021. But when I tell you, by the time we reached Mesh Connect, it was so clear to me. I knew I was meant to be a holistic practitioner, and I worked in healthcare for almost 16 years. And what I was beginning to see did not align with what I knew. And I started to see improvements in my own personal health through the shift in my lifestyle, the plant-based lifestyle, through delving more into how to utilize herbs as medicine and food as medicine. And again, it wasn't just physical. There was a lot of emotional and spiritual healing that had to occur as well. But learning the importance of food and the role that food plays in that as well was huge. So yeah, reaching Mesh Connect was like, okay, I know what I'm meant to do now for at least this next season in my life. And that's what spurred me on this path of exploration and gaining the additional knowledge and certification to be able to serve other women. That is who, and people in general, don't get me wrong, but I have such an affinity for women, especially those who have experienced infertility, because I know that struggle. I know the challenges that come with that. And if I can be a support and a light and encourager of women and even their beloveds as well who have experienced that, then sign me up. I am there for that. So that's
amazing.
pretty much it.
Look, I'm a sign me up. Okay, sign me up. But I know what it feels like to be in that valley, to lose pregnancies, and to go on that journey of exploration. So thank you for that. Now, through the exploration, what do you think you have learned? What's been the greatest lesson you feel you've learned either professionally or personally since coming through or going through the Emerald Green practitioner training, albeit the TED Collective?
Yeah. The greatest lesson for me has been the understanding that there's so much power in your story. I have
Mm,
always been one of those people who is incredibly protective. I'm protective of everything that I go through because regardless of what's going on with me personally, I recognize that I still had to show up. I had to show up to everyone around me. I had to show up and go to work. I had to show up and, be a wife. I had to show up and be a sister and a daughter and a best friend and a cousin and all of these things. We want to give. We're just natural givers and
yeah.
nurturers. And we put whatever we're dealing with on the back burner if we can, if it's not, just glaring. But we do what we can just to support those around us. And so I had become very accustomed to wearing the mask and
Mm,
being very protective. And I think a lot of it had to do with not wanting to be judged or scrutinized. There's so much shame and judgment that comes from pregnancy loss, especially whenever it's undiagnosed,
mm-hmm,
because it's like,
mm-hmm.
what's going on? And in
Yeah.
my experience, it wasn't that we weren't getting pregnant, it was that I wasn't carrying to term. And
Mm,
again, there's just a stigma attached to it. No one wants to
right.
talk about it. And I fell into that very early on. But the more I started to open up, and I had lessons along the way, and I'm so grateful to the Most High for that, because there were so many times where things would happen and I would say, okay, I get it. I know this is an opportunity for me to share my story. And there were so many blessings that came as a result of that. And so seeing that, just the ability to bless another because they didn't feel alone anymore with what they were experiencing, or they felt better now having talked to me and knowing that, okay, if she got through this, then I can as well. That meant everything to me. So I share my story now with everyone, and it still frightens me.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so much of it is out like the, on this type of forum, and so it's a lot, but I'm grateful. There's purpose. I have found purpose in my journey, and
Mhm.
that's one of the main things that's so important to me.
Okay, okay. Well, shout out to you for knowing, okay, well, let me stop. There's a lesson in here and a blessing, you know. That's awesome. All right, so tell me, if you had a moment to live as your future self, this is visualization, you see Amber 12 months from now, what does she look like?
Oh my goodness. Expansion is the word that comes to mind. Expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I have spent so much time as a gatherer in this space
Mm,
of I experienced the things that I experienced. I have gone through this process of remembering, is what I like to call it, returning to who I've always been, who in some ways feels very new, but in some ways feels very familiar. And then it's like, okay, now that's the baseline. It's all about expansion. And I want
mm,
to expand, for the collective, however that looks. So as an Emerald Green or Heal Thyself holistic practitioner, I want to expand there. I want to expand my Reiki services, my own personal practice of Reiki. I absolutely love administering Reiki. No sessions are alike. There's
mm.
always something to be gained from it. I receive healing as well as a result of administering it. And my clients get such a great benefit from it. And so I look forward to that. I look forward to nurturing women and teaching and guiding women through the healing retreats that I have been hosting here in Costa Rica. Um, Whatever the Most High has for me, I am open to receiving, and I
You
am
got
open.
both hands open?
I got them open, sis. I had them open.
Okay, because it sounds like you let some things go. You made some room. Okay, you
Yes,
made some room. So I look
absolutely.
forward to, who Amber is
Give thanks.
12 months from now for sure. All right, so we're gonna ask the collective, who has a wild card question for Coach Am? Who has it? Who got it? Who got it? Latoya, I see it on your face. I see it on your face. What's a wild card question? What is something you would like to know from Coach Am?
I would say, since you mentioned expansion, which area would you be interested or intuitively you're being led to expand in?
Wow, that's a great question. Give thanks.
Mm,
It feels like a loaded question though, because I know that shifts can occur at any moment. And I feel like in the present moment, definitely guiding women via the retreats. That has been, kind of, and just one of the things I mentioned to you all. It's like I said yes to doing that, and it's something that had been on the horizon for a while. And when I touched down in Costa Rica, one of my best friends, Kima, who had been living here for a while, she and I had been kind of toying around with the idea, and then we finally said, "Okay, I think we're going to do this." And then it seemed like the floodgates opened up. So that is definitely where my heart is. We just had one in July, and the testimonials are still coming from that one, the breakthroughs that occurred, because it's all about healing. And I think a lot of people oftentimes struggle with healing because of the vulnerability that has to come. And that's a scary place. But I think also, um, oftentimes people feel like, well, if I haven't been through anything incredibly traumatic or tragic, maybe I'm good, And so there's a
mm,
lot of education that comes with it, and just expressing that trauma is anything that threatens our security. So when you look back over your life, and think about all of the many moments that your security was threatened. And then connect to whether or not you feel that you released the energetic impact of that trauma from your body, because that's where we've held it. Because again, that's not taught in Western civilization.
Right.
If you have not done that, then there is a need. There is a need for healing. So that is definitely where my efforts are focused right now. But like I said, it feels loaded because I feel like as soon as as soon as I say that, then it'll be opening up to Reiki or coaching clients or whatever it may be. So my hands are still open and my heart is open and my mind to, again, whatever the Most High has for me in this season and beyond. So give thanks.
Give thanks. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that wild card question, Coach Latoya. And since you are here, right, you haven't been heard just yet. And I would like to give a special shout out to you, Coach Latoya. Thank you, Coach Am, for sharing. Latoya has been shouldering me for several months with a project, and I just appreciate her diligence, her patience, her calm. She's like the calm before the storm, in that she could be the calm in the storm. But she is meaning definitely water-based, but she brings the fire as well. And I'm appreciative of that. So Coach Latoya has been on Build Through Broadcast. We have been able to learn some of her story, but she's going to share and answer some questions for us, during this special edition, right? So she is an ancestrally trained raw vegan chef, and she is a holistic lifestyle coach, and she supports people in setting goals for their health journey that is practical and effective, right? We need that effectiveness. And in her free time, she loves to prepare raw, delicious meals. She loves to travel, spend time with her beautiful daughter, and watch intriguing documentaries. And if I am allowed to add, she recently became a wealth builder. So to see how she has even grown in the space thus far, saving for not only her daughter, but her daughter's daughters. It's just so amazing just to see how you have transmuted energy. I know that you've gone through quite an ordeal and many things since over these last 12 months or so. So I just say shout out to you. Thank you for shouldering me. Thank you for being that support. Thank you for offering that nurture when it was needed. I personally, and I know as well as the collective, appreciate you. So welcome in once again, Coach Latoya Davis, certified Emerald Green holistic practitioner, Heal Thyself holistic practitioner. Whoop, whoop. Yay.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. You have a way of really sharing everyone's beautiful qualities. So thank you.
You are most welcome. So look, we're going to cut straight to the chase. We would love to hear what ignited your journey, not only for your personal healing, but to make this a part of your practice, especially as a raw vegan chef. What was that thing for you?
Yes, and excuse me, I have my toddler in the background. So if you hear her, just act like you don't hear her. But yes,
natural and organic.
Yes. So what ignited my journey was about, I would say 11 years ago. I was going through some things. I was in graduate school, but I didn't want to be there. I recall being in a relationship, I don't know what it was, with someone, and it wasn't in alignment. I remember just not feeling at balance and feeling like I was not being true to who I was. But I didn't have like a a person or a community that would tell me like, Latoya, if you want to leave school, go ahead and leave it. I wasn't that confident to just do it, So I was still, I realized that I was still depending on what my mother felt or whatever, but that definitely shifted eventually. But I began reading this book called, I believe it was Do You, by Russell Simmons. I don't know the whole title, but I know it was Do You. But I thought it was going to be like a business book, but it was like a spiritual book. And he was motivated by Deepak Chopra. He was motivated by his book and the 7 spiritual laws, So I really loved the book. And in that book, he talked about eating plant-based, eating vegetarian, and about, talking about meditation and all that stuff. And I was really intrigued by it, even though I wasn't doing those things actively, but it motivated me to eventually do those things. I knew that I was going through a lot of shifts and changes prior to then. I was starting to be more interested in more holistic wellness and more consciously starting to learn more about myself and about astrology, numerology, all of that stuff. I was doing that, practicing that more than I was focusing on my actual schoolwork, but I was still doing okay, but I was focused more on that. So eventually I wrote down in my journal that I was going to go vegetarian one day, because I felt like I couldn't do it because it may be expensive. That was in my mindset at that time. But what motivated me in the book specifically was when he mentioned, Russell Simmons mentioned that you don't know how that, people don't think about how that chicken get on your plate and how the energy that's connected to it. And that really stood out to me the most. So that's what really made me be like, okay, one day I'm going to eat vegetarian. So then fast forward to a year later, I went through a lot of massive changes and I felt my life out of balance, but I was getting back to myself. I was doing meditations, I was journaling, I was reading a lot of self-improvement books. And then eventually I ended up connecting with my child's father, and he, was a vegan, and he was talking about it. He had enthusiasm or whatever. So that led me to switch to the plant-based lifestyle eventually. And then from there, within maybe about a year later, I was introduced to Queen Afua through the book literally being placed in my hand, Heal Thyself being placed in my hand. And from there, I started getting Sacred Woman, but I didn't really get into Sacred Woman for real until maybe and like around the time, like right when I moved away from where I was living at that time. I moved back home. I was called to come back home. So when I came back home, that's when I started feeling more comfortable to do the Sacred Woman's, stuff. And fast forward, because there's a lot going on, but fast forward, once I had my daughter, things just changed. And I used the Queen Afua's Sacred Woman to really connect with my womb and heal my womb, because I had an emergency C-section. So that really just catapulted me on a journey of shadow work and all types of things. And eventually I wanted to do Sacred Woman. And it was interesting because I wanted to do it back in 2014, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. But I ended up doing it in the 2021, and I feel like it was in alignment. And eventually I saw that I wanted to definitely do Emerald Green. It was connected to my lifestyle, especially with eating raw and everything. And yeah, so it's so much to the story, but yeah, and I'm very connected.
We can't wait to read the book.
Oh yes, as a matter of fact, yes, I do have, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, I feel like we have gone through a great deal, just learning each other, working with each other very closely. And I appreciate, again, just your calm. It really was comforting. But what would you say is one of the things that you've learned, albeit professionally or personally, since graduating into a certified holistic practitioner?
Yes, I would say definitely the power of Mayat and how two things can be operating, like how to have calm in storm. Like, because that's definitely what had happened after Ascension. Was like, it was like, okay, this is when the real work started happening, you know? So it was just like and seeing how through challenging times and challenging moments, how I was able to birth things. You know, for years, I shied away from doing meal prepping for people. So many people used to ask me, did I prepare meals? You know, especially since I eat raw now, and, you know, a lot of people wanted to, you know, they were maybe not comfortable or didn't have time to do the prepping. So they would ask me and I would say no, because I just didn't feel comfortable with paying someone to, you know, to act. And, you know, I'm okay with, you know, just offering it, you know, you come to my house or whatever, and just giving it to you. But I didn't feel comfortable at all with actually just selling it. So it was just very interesting that at the time that it dropped into me to do it. It was actually interesting. Somebody actually came to my Instagram and they were like, have you ever thought about, you know, making a living, making getting paid for the food that you actually make for yourself, you know? So, and at that moment I was like, you know what? Yes, I am interested in that. And I got coaching for that and everything. So I was doing that while also going through the training. So it was like, everything was just such alignment to me. And it just made me realize that, you know, that's the key to it. You may go through things, but you use that energy and harness it and focus on things that you desire to accomplish. Because I forgot that I put in my journal in 2017 that I wanted to open up a restaurant called Infinitely Raw. And so I was like, hold on. And then I came across and I was like, wow, I really literally did that. And so I never thought about it in a different capacity, you know, but still, it's still a groundwork, because eventually I do want to invest in something. I mean, I will not operate it, you know, literally, but I do have a vision for something like that, especially in my city. So yeah. So that's the biggest thing, is just taking, you know, challenging times and having calm in that, you know, and not being so reactive all the times, because I definitely had some moments, but still being able to harness that energy and focus, putting it into something. Yeah.
Well, it was definitely felt. And again, I personally appreciate you. So if we're looking at, if you're standing in your future self just for a day, what would that look like? Who is the future Latoya Davis?
Okay.
12 months.
You said in 12 months. Okay, I would say I definitely would be traveling.
Okay.
I would be traveling, and I will be not only just traveling for pleasure, but also traveling and sharing holistic health and wellness in different ways, whether it be retreats, whether it be speaking engagements, whatever I am designed to do it for in 12 months from now. And really, you know, just like what Coach Amber mentioned in regards to, you know, expansion, just expanding in, especially the things when it comes to motherhood and postpartum. I feel like I've been through a lot in that. That's something that I want to support. That's a big thing for me, supporting other women so that they still have a vision for themselves, despite the fact that they are a mother, that they don't forget their dreams and their aspirations, and that they just don't forget themselves and embrace the rebirthing that they're experiencing, and to make sure that they have a plan for who will be of support to them during that time period. Because I know that a lot of women are afraid to ask for help, especially when you are naturally independent and naturally a nurturing person. It may be difficult. You may not feel like you want to bother people. So it's like having a plan of how can, who will be able to support me, and just embracing the changes. Don't strive to be who you once were, because that person has changed completely. So
I love that.
I really want to do that. There's so much that I want to that I want to do, but that's what's on my heart. The post working with mothers, regardless of their journey, and supporting them and remembering themselves, because we influence the household,
And then that's the truth. We influence the household. But I love what you said, not striving to be the person that you were. That person has changed. That's a whole gem, right? Because I think oftentimes we do that. Oh, I used to be this. I used to be that. Well, what got you to where you are is not going to get you to where you're going, right? So the change is necessary.
Yes.
All right. So now I'm going to call someone out. Thank you so much for your share. Now, this person has been in the fold, hard body. And again, personal thanks. I just love this collective. Like, I love y'all for real. I know I say that. Y'all be like, yeah, Shay, whatever you're talking about. But I do. I really do. Shanta, I'm going to read her bio, but she came into the fold after or just as you all were graduating. And she's made herself right at home, and she has taken on, I'm like, wait, I don't even see her bio. You may have to just tell me what it is. Tell us what it is. But before I even get that far, we have been striving to do a thing. And I apologize for not having that queued up. We have been striving to pull together the Emerald Green Collective. And Shanta stepped up not only to aid Latoya in coaching, mentorship, leadership. I learned that she enjoys low-key admin work. And I was like, you know what, Most High? Thank you. Because I don't love it. I don't love it at all. But she has helped us in a very major way with completing the Emerald Green Collective directory. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to those of you who are watching this, but to the 5 of us right now, right here, right now, we are so grateful that it has finally come to fruition. So, Shanta, on behalf of myself, Coach Shanta, on behalf of the collective, we say thank you for pushing through, creating what we've been waiting for, right? And being a real studious and diligent aspect and seeing this through. Now, again, this is me freestyling because she does a lot. She's coming into her own, and the blossoming that we have seen her go through, really, it's only been almost 9 months. Ooh, that's just in time for a whole delivery. Okay, let me find out. But she is a resident, or she lives in Alabama, or Alabama lives in her. She is more than just a holistic practitioner. She is a mom of a preteen, right? She looks like a preteen, okay? She has a whole preteen on her hands. She's very active in our community. And if I have to keep it a G, she's probably the biggest part in why Build Through Book Club, along with Latoya, has continued, right? Because we all have our schedules, we all have things to do, and Build Through Book Club, which is our personal space, was designed for us just to build, right? And it's led to this. She actually named this platform Build Through Broadcast. Just an amazing spirit and a genuine spirit, and we're just grateful. So without further ado, we would like to bring Coach Shanta to the front of the room, and we say thank you. We say thank you so very much. Before we get into the questions, you're welcome. Is there anything that you would like to share in that abstract bio that I may have missed?
First and foremost, I just want to say I give thanks for all of you as my reflections. I blossomed in this space because of each and every one of you. One thing that I would like to add to just my bio in general is that this is a healing journey. And my whole goal for a very long time has been to create a one-stop shop for all your wellness needs. And my company caters to women who seek to add more holistic and health lifestyle options for their families. And I just give thanks that each of you are in your spaces doing something along those lines in your own way, whether it's delivering to other women or delivering to families or delivering across multiple generations. We're each in our own way reaching out, utilizing the knowledge we've learned from Queen, utilizing the knowledge we've gained from other places to truly bring that health and wellness to the forefront and to the lifestyle of so many people. So I give thanks for each and every one of you, your inspiration, your continued successes, your challenges, because each of us, as we go through our challenges, we have the opportunity to sharpen one another. There's the saying, iron sharpens iron, and each and every one of you are sharp in your own regard, and it gives me the opportunity to get sharper, to grow, to acknowledge myself, to see the areas that I may need to shine a little bit more attention on than others, and areas where I haven't been fully accepting my strengths. So I give thanks that I have been able to come into this space and grow. So I give thanks for each of you.
Well, we give thanks for you too. So tell us, give us a brief description of what catapulted your healing journey, and what was that thing that said, I'm going to practice this to be an aid to other people?
Absolutely. So let's see, the best way to ease into this story, I did not come into the knowledge of Queen Afua in 2020 when I started with, the Emerald Green and the Black Girls Rock. My sister, my best friend, I call her my muse. She actually had been talking to me about Queen Afua for years, probably since around the time she had her first child. She was on a journey, and she discovered Queen Afua and mentioned it. And it wasn't until maybe 2019 that I started thinking about who I was at that time and what I wanted. I was in, as I mentioned before, a relationship that was not a good fit. I didn't need to be there. That saying, hurt people is true. And it is also true that we date our reflections. And I found that a lot of the aspects of myself that I didn't like, those things that I had kept trying to hide from everybody else by going into hermit mode, found me in another person. And as I went through that experience of just receiving all of my issues mirrored back to me, plus his issues, it just, if you've ever seen a can get crushed, that's pretty much where I was. I was a crushed can. And I really didn't like that feeling even more than I didn't like the feeling of who I was when I looked at the mirror. Like, these are the areas where you need to make adjustments. You've let this go on too long and it's getting worse. And 2019, I was standing outside in my yard. I had started gardening, so that was, I was learning to tend to myself and didn't realize it. I stood outside talking to my son, and I just apologized to him. I told him, I apologize to you that I haven't been the best version of myself since you've been here. There's a lot of things that I know I can do better. I really want to work on it. I don't quite know how to start, but I promise you, if you just rock with me, we'll figure this thing out. And, 2020 came in, And 2020 came in with the thunder. The first thing that happened in 2020, February, his dad died in a motorcycle accident. That was my first love. And that was a blow that I didn't even realize had the potential to hurt so very much and on all of the levels that it did. He and I weren't necessarily on like great terms. But I always just assumed like at some point, you know, he'll accept my apology because I went clean and smooth off the last time. We had a real solid conversation and I apologized, but he's entitled to his feelings. And I just assumed that he would accept my apology. We would move past it and we'd be grandparents talking about our grandkids and whose house they're coming to for the holidays. And unfortunately, he died in 2020. The pandemic came in, all kinds of things just shifted. And in the course of that, Queen Afua had joined with Black Girls Rock, and she was doing this 2-day summit. And my muse called me and she was like, Shanta, Queen is having a 2-day summit with Black Girls Rock and we need to be in there. And I was like, send me the information right now. So she sends me the information and we sign up to attend this 2-day retreat. Now, I had been going through a lot of stuff, and one of those things was not paying attention to myself, not taking care of myself. Just, I was completely like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need over there? Anybody in the back need something? None of my needs were being met. So I'm sitting there and I'm like doing my best trying to write notes. And I realized that as I'm writing notes, I'm inverting letters. I know how to spell this word. I'm literally thinking the word out as I'm writing it. And I still wrote the letter in the wrong spot. Or I would be writing an F, but I'd write the hook going the wrong direction. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm having neurological symptoms. This is not okay. So I sat still with myself. And somebody was saying something about the Emerald Green Holistic Practitioner Certification. And I was like, okay, that's it. So I went ahead and got into the course. And as I started to implement those things and did my detox, I had so much clarity on so many things. I had, if you figuratively think about having a cloudy mind, there's like a haze and a fog, like all of that, the physical haze that I was experiencing, the mucus in my head, all kinds of stuff. A lot of issues were resolved in that first detox that I did. And I knew that that was the path that I needed to take. One of my favorite things about this work is that it is acknowledged as a journey. It is not a one-stop, you do this 21-day detox and everything in your body works fine. You don't do anything else, you can go back to eating shrimp. Like there's all of these different facets of it, but to know that it is a journey and to know that if your healer's not healing, you might need to ask some additional questions, because my healing journey continues to unfold. But I know that I can go in my library, I can pull out any book, I can find whatever it is that I need if I get still enough to receive the answer. And the answer can come from anywhere. It can come from some person posting something on Facebook and you're like, that's the word. Because if you don't know what the word is, you cannot look it up. I don't care how you feel about it, you cannot look it up. But that the words will come through that you need to look up what you want to find. You'll talk to somebody and they'll share something with you about their experience that'll take you directly to where you need to go. But that is literally my favorite part, is like, as I continue to find things in myself that need to be addressed, I can find the information I need to address it.
Wow. Wow. Well, kudos and shout out to you for, going through the thick of things. Of course, death on any level, whether direct or indirect, it's a process. And again, just to see you blossom, really, just being in your fullness has been a joy and an inspiration to watch, to witness. So, we are here to cheer you on to whatever expansive heights you are looking to grow to.
Yes.
So you're welcome. Here is your next question. what is one thing you believe, you've learned? What's that lesson, either professionally or personally, over the last 12 months?
You are absolutely valuable at whatever point in life you find yourself in. Your value at no point is reduced. It is always, always high. And the more that you embrace yourself and accept your truth and walk in your power, no matter how ugly it may seem or how embarrassing it may be from the perspective of someone else, you know the journey that you have walked, and you know the reasons, the decisions behind every single high and every single low. And all of it combines to make you exactly who you are, and who you are is valuable at every level that you find yourself.
We come through high value. She said, I am top shelf, hunty.
Every day.
Okay, you better believe it.
Even
Yes,
when I
ma'am.
feel like malt liquor.
The thing said, even when she feel like malt. So you're living a day. Oh, one of the things that I did not mention is you too are a wealth builder and have started that journey. So to know that you are, listen, the reason why I keep mentioning that is we can do what normally takes us 40 years to do in 6. And knowing that you are paving the way for your preteen who will soon be a man, who will soon acquire a lifestyle that will allow him to walk boldly, firmly in his manhood, and to be able to protect, produce, and provide for his family is amazing. So shout out to you, Mom, for taking that plunge. So, future self, 12 months. What do you see? Who is Coach Shanta?
Gosh, 12 months. I was literally just writing out my business plan, so I can tell you exactly what the game plan is. So, my number one desire is to truly build a solid foundation as a holistic wellness company. I want to wake up in the morning and eat, sleep, breathe, healing, wellness, teaching comedic yoga, serving meals to people, maybe even having been on Tabitha Brown's cooking show or about to be on there.
Yes, ma'am.
And, doing womb steams for like just bringing all of the ideas that I have in my head to create a ladies one-stop holistic wellness shop where you come in and we powwow, and it is just from start to finish an experience that heals you on every single level. And then just as I move forward, just connected with others who are on that same vibration, so we can, each of us have our own little collectives in our own areas.
Yes, come through Emerald Green Collective with all of our fabulousness. All right, so now we are coming to a close. Who has a wild card question for Coach Shanta? Who has it? Who is it? Who is it? I'm gonna call on, because I don't see a mic that's unmuted, right? So here we go. Kingdom, what is that wild card question you have for your sister?
Well, I think you asked the wild card question because she has all of these initiatives going on, from like wanting to help women now and things in that nature for her business, like a one-stop and shop community. So I think that, that question was pretty much answered. Like, where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? And I think you've answered that.
Okay. Okay, give thanks. Now, because see, your sisters, your family gonna look out for you. They're gonna make sure that you have what you need. Okay. If you leave in the house without your gloves, somebody gonna say you forgot your gloves now.
Yeah.
So, Coach Am, thank you. Who would like to ask Latoya her wild card question? And you know what? We should just, Am, would you ask Latoya a wild card question? Would you do that for the family?
I will. I realized that we missed Latoya with the wild card. So
My bad, Coach. My bad.
no. It happens. It happens. I think the burning question that I have is, what did you learn from embarking on your raw journey, your raw lifestyle, that you wish you had known beforehand?
That's a great question. My biggest, I feel like I did not even, the biggest thing I can think of, I did not imagine how it would change my life. I just thought it was just going to be something I did for like 30 days and, and I was going to go back to just eating cooked vegan. Like it was just not, but once I started that journey, it was just like, oh my goodness, like I want to stay. It was like a natural high and I had energy and I felt good. And it was just, I just didn't want to stop. And I didn't realize that I was manifesting something I wrote in my journal every day. I wanted to eat more raw vegan food, but I did not know it was going to be a lifestyle. And, so yeah, that's the biggest thing is that it brought me closer to the spirit. It brought me closer to myself. It made me understand the connectedness with nature. I had no clue that going raw was going to do that for me. And the experience is different for everybody, but for me, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And sometimes I know that when I share things, sometimes I can sense that people, they're judging themselves with some of their responses, because it's like, for me, I'm just passionate about it. I just love and want to share with everybody. But sometimes people, they may say things that is like, well, it's not for everyone, or da-da. And I'm like, I'm not even trying to push it to everybody. It's just that it's just something that has just changed my life. I never even thought I would ever eat plant-based, let alone have a raw vegan pregnancy. I did a lot of things that people doubted from me, like it's for real. And I wasn't even trying to prove a point. I just knew the information based upon my own research, and I knew the value that it had in my life and that it's possible, and I saw people do it. So it just changed my life in so many ways. It increased my manifestation, the ability to manifest, my ability to foresee things in meditations that happen, like so much. It's a beautiful thing. So it's not for everybody, but it definitely, it's a holistic thing for me. It supported me in reiterating the importance of incorporating the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional to all aspects of your life, because it impacts every aspect. What do you put in your body? Yes.
Wow.
So that was a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question. Great question. All right. So we are, narrowing down our broadcast. I will share a little bit of my story next week, Friday. So we hope that you tune back in for that. But does anyone have anything that they would like to add? Anything that you would want our new family to know? Anyone? We'll make sure that everyone is heard and whatever's on your heart is voiced. Yes.
I would say, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But I would say that everybody's journey is their own. So if you're inspired, that's awesome. And just know that, your story is your story and your journey is yours, and to not compare your journey to anybody else, and that what works for you works for you. And if you are inspired by what you see, you could tweak it to whatever works for your lifestyle and what you have going on. So that's the biggest thing, is being gradual and having fun with it, because a lot of times health is an uncomfortable subject for people. And I know it can be stressful and whatnot. So just being creative and knowing that you know, if you feel like you can't cook the food, like you can just follow the instructions and then practice as you go. But that's the biggest thing. Our biggest takeaway.
Your journey is your own. Give thanks. Coach Ann, what say you?
Just to veggie back on what Coach Latoya just shared, your journey is your own. And I would advise everyone to strive to accept your journey in however it looks, you know, for the beauty of it. And beauty can be found from those less than favorable experiences within our journey, but strive to accept it without judgment, because again, it is yours. And that is something that I had to go through as well. As I mentioned, shame and judgment can come from others, but I realized that there was a lot of work that I had to do personally in order to move beyond those things for myself. And so, yeah, accept it. If you are inspired in any way, we are here, we are open. Reach out to us, because all we want to do is guide and assist. So.
Give thanks. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Coach Shante, Coach Dom, anyone have anything? No pressure. Just want to make sure everyone got their last minute vibe in.
Nothing to add. I am grateful for each and every one of you. Every time we get together, it's
the party.
It is, and it's so spiritual. There's always something to take away every single time. So I give thanks for each and every one of you.
Give thanks for you. Give thanks for you. All right. And I think that King Dom has yielded the mic. So again, we will be back next week, Friday, with the second half of the Emerald Green Collective. And forgive me, I am dubbed the Emerald Scarab. So I say the, I do mean the in this space. We will we'll have a launch of our website directory, which you can schedule your next consultation with any of the coaches that you would like to connect with. We love you tuning in on Fridays at 12:30. We get so much feedback for people who enjoy this space, and hopefully we can have more coaches come in as their schedules allow. And we just say thank you. We thank you for coming back and, like we said, sharing space. So until the next time, this is Built Through Broadcast with the Emerald Green Collective, and we say peace, love, and wholeness, light.